Alright folks, today we're working on correcting numbers 31 on, I think we're going to go to 35 today is my plan. So, 31, Mr. Johnson bought a conical camping tent for his two daughters. I think conicals have a big deal. The radius of the base is 4.5 feet, and the tent's lateral surface is 110.6 feet squared, or square feet. Use the formula, this is kind of important, where S is the lateral surface of area and R is the radius to find the height of the tent. So they're giving us the radius, they're giving us the lateral surface, and they want us to find H. So I'm just going to copy this formula down without changing anything. S equals pi R square root of R squared plus H squared. S is equal to 110.6 equals pi is pi. R is 4.5. Okay, square root, here's another R, so we use 4.5 again. Squared plus H squared. Alright, so let's get rid of all the stuff on the outside of the square root first. Let's divide both sides by 4.5 and by pi. Let's cancel this and that and this and that. 4.5 and by pi, so 110.6 divided by 4.5 pi is 7.82 something something something, and I'm going to carry a few decimal places. I don't know how far it's going to need us to do. Equals, let's see, we get left with the square root of 4.5 squared plus H squared. So now if we didn't have the square root, we could do what we need to do. So let's get rid of the square root. We undo square roots by squaring both sides. So I'm going to square my 7.8233 and get 61.2047 equals, let's see, the square and the square root will cancel. We're left at 4.5 squared plus H squared. Okay, so if I'm going to solve for H, I need to get rid of this 4.5 squared. So I'm going to figure out what 4.5 squared is. That's going to be 20.25 plus H squared equals my 61.2047. Going to subtract 20.25 from my 61.2047. I'm going to get 40.9547 equals H squared. Last step, we've got to get H by itself, so let's take the square root. Just like we undo square roots with squaring, we undo squaring with square roots. They are inverse operations, so we're going to get H equals the square root of that number, which is 6.3995. Okay, so there's 6.3 and there's 6.4. There's probably something we got to do. So we need to find height of the tent to the nearest tenth of a foot. Tenth is the first decimal place, so we look at the one next to it. This is 9 or above, so we give it a shove. So this is 6.4 feet is our height, which is answer C. Oh wait, number 2, an angle A in center position of the unit circle. If you see these words, unit circle, this is automatically pre-cal or algebra 3 or maybe CCR, one of those, you know, which means that we're not going to worry about these problems. Instead, we're just to say, hey, answer is B. Congratulations, that was fast. Oh wait, 33, given B equals the square root of A, C equals A squared, D equals B squared C, which expression is equivalent to D squared B divided by AC in terms of A? So it looks like they want us to use substitution to replace each of these parts so that we just have A's left over. So let's replace as much as we can up front. Okay, so we know D is equal to B squared C. So if I have D squared B over AC, I can replace D with B squared C, and then there's a squared on D. I know B is equal to the square root of A, so I'm going to replace that. A is fine, we can leave it there. And C is A squared. So let's do that. Okay, so we're not still on all A's yet. So I don't want to simplify until I get all A's. That might be the easiest thing to do. So I'm going to replace B squared. Well, B is the square root of A. So I'm going to have the square root of A is going to be squared. C is A squared times the square root of A on the outside over A times A squared. So the squared and the square root will cancel. So we're left with A times A squared, square roots of A. Oh, and don't forget the square right here. So let's do the stuff on the inside first. So I'm going to have A times A squared is going to be A to the third, all that squared, square root on the outside, and then A to the third on the bottom. So I know A to the third times itself is going to give us, let's see, A to the square root of A over A to the third. Actually, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to cancel one of these. a to the third on the top and the bottom, that's the same thing. I'm left with a to the third square root of a, which is answer A, and that works out. There are a bunch of different ways to simplify this. You could square this first and then plug it in later. There's a number of different ways, and whatever way you get to A is fine with me. Okay, 34. Which of these is the graph of y equals ab to the x power, where a is greater than 1 and a is greater than 0 and b is greater than 1? So they tell us the values of these. So if you have a graphing calculator, you can plug numbers in and go for it. You can just say, hey, a is this, b is this. But the rest of us don't. So let's not worry about that. Instead, we're just going to say, hey, this is 9.1. So when you get to unit 9, objective 1, this is an exponential model. This is an exponential equation. So when you do 9.1, you will understand how to do this, okay? So we're going to go and say, hey, 34 is answer C. So when you get to 9.1 before your EOC, you will know how to do this. If you don't get there, then you won't, and that's kind of a problem. But we have enough time left where you should get it done. Okay, last problem for the day. 35. Jennifer and Robbie stand 50 feet apart on opposite sides of a statue. The angle of elevation from Jennifer's feet to the top of the statue is 46 degrees, while the angle of elevation from Robbie's feet to the top of the statue is 52 degrees. How tall to the nearest tenth of a foot is the statue? Okay, so we've got some triangle, right? Because this is the ground. Jennifer's standing over here, Robbie's over here, and there's a statue in the middle. We don't know where in the middle, but we know it's in the middle somewhere. We can't just assume it's exactly in the middle, so I'm going to draw it so it's a little bit not in the middle. We know they are 50 feet apart. The angle of elevation from Jennifer's feet to the statue is 46 degrees, and from Robbie's feet to the top of the statue is 52 degrees. So depending upon the geometry class you were in, will help you and able to do this problem. We're going to need to use a couple things. There's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm going to use the law of sines, and it's given to you on your formula sheet. On the back side of your formula sheet, it gives you this thing. So it gives you a triangle, and it gives you an equation where you can use the law of sines. So what the law of sines says is that if we have an angle and its opposite side, so angle A and side A, we have sine B and side B, we can substitute in 3 of these 4 variables to find the missing one, or we could use it for side C. So we're going to do that. So if I know that I could find either this side or this side, then that would let me use regular, just right triangle trig between either Jennifer or Robbie, whichever side we're on, to find the height of this thing. So I need to have this last angle over here, but we know there's 180 degrees in a triangle, so 180 minus 46 minus 52 is going to give us 82 degrees. So this last one here, so if we know this angle and this side, we can use either of these we want. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go from Robbie's side, because I don't know, I'm just going to pick this one. So I know this. I need this part, so I'm going to say the sine of 82 degrees over the length of this opposite side is equal to sine of 46 degrees over the length of this opposite side. So let's get rid of our denominators. We get rid of division by multiplication. Multiply both sides by 50, we'll cancel there. Multiply both sides by x, we'll cancel there. So we get some numbers here. So remember that sine is just a number. So you're going to take a calculator. It doesn't matter if this calculator or within the calculator. And you can type in sine of 82 degrees, and you'll get some numbers. So we have x times 0.9902 equals, let's see, 50 times the sine of 46 degrees is an equal 35.9669 blah, blah, blah. And that's the whole thing. So to get x by itself, for us to find this missing side length, we need to divide both sides by that 0.99 thing. So the 35 point whatever divided by, my answer says, wait a second. No, that's right. Let's make sure. 35.9669 divided by 0.9902. Yep, so x equals 36.3228 feet is our units we're dealing with right now. So now that we have this, so here's what we got. I'm going to draw another little triangle over here. We don't know how tall this thing is.
We don't know if this is a Koranic Dorian or a Corinthian or what kind of statue it is. But what we do know is that we know the side over here is 36.322 feet. We know this angle of elevation is 52 degrees, which says we're going to use the opposite side and the hypotenuse side. So that's regular right triangle trig, so SOHCAHTOA. Let's see here. So SOHCAHTOA, so that's opposite and hypotenuse, which says sine of 52 degrees is equal to the opposite divided by hypotenuse, well, 322 feet. So we multiply both sides by the denominator to get rid of it. So we're going to have 36.322 and 36.322 cancels on that side. We're left with x equals, so if we just type in 36.322 sine of 52 degrees, we get 28.62 feet, which is a weird height for a statue. Maybe it's measured in something else and they're just measuring it in imperials for some reason. So that looks like we have answer 28.62, answer D. Okay, so again, this problem was depending upon how far you had gotten in geometry, whether you had taken the half-year course or the full-year course. Okay, make sure you hold on to these. We will go over the 3 problems we talked about, and then that's that. We'll get on to the rest of our Algebra 2 today.